and I've gone live on Instagram now. So if you go onto my Instagram, on my Sean Swiss Sweeney one.
Let me see. Well, I'm going to turn that one down so I don't hear it.
Yep.
And I'll just talk to you through Zoom. So.
Yeah. Okay. If you just go on your Instagram, I've just added you on Instagram.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
Right. Good afternoon, everybody. It's Monday. SweeneyTV, Sweeney HQ. And I've got an amazing international educator on the show today, Tyrik Jackson. So, welcome to SweeneyTV, Sean Swiss Sweeney, Sweeney HQ. We are an hour early. We're an hour early, brother. I did say 7 o'clock, but it's 6 o'clock over here. It doesn't matter. It's great. And I just want to just thank you for coming on. And brother, if you'd just like to introduce yourself to everybody on the show. When did you start barbering? How did you get into it? And so forth.
So yeah, my name is Tyrik Jackson. I'm the owner and partner of Premier Barber Institute in Norristown, Pennsylvania, right outside of Philadelphia. I've been in the barbering industry a little now over close to 28 years now. I started as a cleanup kid. That started because I was working there and I was showing gratitude because a guy gave me a ride home while I was in a talent show in high school. And so my way of showing gratitude and my appreciation was by going to the barbershop and trying to find out how I can help. After being in the barbershop for quite some time, I started flirting with the idea of cutting hair. So I started messing up all the kids in the neighborhood. And my mom signed me up for cosmetology school, but when she signed me up for cosmetology school, she signed herself up as well. And so we went to school together. When we went to school together, the newspaper came in and said, first mother and son to ever attend school together at this location. And they wrote an article and they basically asked, what was it that I wanted to do? And ultimately, I told them that I wanted to one day get my teacher's license and possibly open up a school. And so here we are. We're on the stage at Premier Barber Institute here in my school. And that idea that I had when I was 18 came to fruition. And we opened up Premier Barber Institute 2013, 2014. But the dream has always been there since I was 18.
Brilliant, brilliant. Just to let you know, your camera's off on the Zoom. So if you just click your camera onto the Zoom.
Oh, okay.
And then we'll be on the double screen.
Absolutely.
There you go.
I must have hit it by accident.
No, that's cool, brother. So where's the Premier Barber Institute based to?
So your question again, I'm sorry.
So where you're based to, your institute, ideally, is it an educational school or is it a barbershop and educational school or just?
Oh, no, it is an institution. So Premier Barber Institute is a Title IV funded institution. We're the only program within the Philadelphia area that offers financial aid to students who qualify. And so it is an actual institution. We do have a clinic where people are getting service. More importantly, though, we have financial aid for those who want to but can't afford to pay for schooling.
So just to let the fans know, so say, for instance, somebody wanted to come to your school, is there sort of a process and a procedure you go through to see if they're admittable to do barber college? Like say you come from, like, I don't know what type of age they start over there. Over in the UK, they normally start about 16. Is that about the same age? So
Pennsylvania state law requires that you're at the very least 16 years of age. But in order to enroll into a school that's Title IV, you have to have a high school diploma or a GED equivalent. So as long as you have a high school diploma or a GED equivalent and you're over the age of 16, then you are more than welcome to begin the application process. We ask students to take a tour of our facility. Once they take the tour of the facility, we don't want them to commit until they've checked other options, right? Also, make sure that our school fits them. We just don't take everyone who just wants to come. We got to make sure that you're a great fit for our school and vice versa.
Mm. Do you have a maximum capacity every year as well? Is there a maximum capacity you can go to?
So we enroll every second Tuesday of the month, and our capacity per instructor is 20 students per instructor. So We have a daytime program that facilitates a maximum of, it was as of last month, 40 in the daytime, 20 in one class, 20 in the other class. We are now able to fit 80 students because I'm in the second part of our facility, which is upstairs. So we can have 4 classrooms happening at one time. So there's a capacity of 80 students in our school would be the max, both day and night.
Brilliant, brilliant. So that leads me on to my next question. As an educator myself, and obviously you're an educator, what's the procedure inside your company, so to speak, with the educators? So, you know, are they going to be cutting 20 years? Are they just going to be, you know, really good at educating? You know, what sort of etiquette do they need to work with you guys?
So in order to come to our school, you don't have to have any skill at all. We actually embrace the students who come in with no cutting skill. We do have students that come into the school with some cutability. They've either tried it at home, cut their friends, especially during pandemic and shut down. They were cutting their significant others or nephews and nieces because no one had haircuts for months. But generally, students who come in with no cutting experience are the easier students to teach. So the requirement for teaching is not so much, oh, you have to have cutability. No, there is no requirement. As long as you're capable to study and you can do the work that's the tasks that are required, and you can stand. A lot of times, depending on the student, for example, let's say we have someone who may be a little bit heavier and overweight. We may ask them, hey, come in, take a tour of our school, and then we'll have them kind of like shadow for a half a day and kind of stand up and see what it looks like. Can you do the work? And if you can do the work and you're willing to commit, then we're willing to be able to accommodate you.
That's good. So obviously after they finished, you know, the students, when they finish their education with you, do they go on to barbershops they go on to, or do they go and open their own barbers? What's the story, the backstories between the
So our schools, when you're a school that is a Title IV funded school, an accredited school, a school that offers financial aid, we're graded on different things. One, how many students complete our program. The other grade is how many students that complete our program go and get licensed for licensure, because, you know, the United States has regulations and requirements. And then the third thing is job placement. So every person who completes our program and gets licensed then has to, you know, get a job. And so it is our job to do that. And so for us, when a student comes to the school, the student isn't our customer. The student that comes to our school is a student that is basically material. We take that material, we mold that material, we build that material up, and then that becomes our product. So when it comes to putting good product out there, that is the product that Premier Barber Institute is providing. We're putting the product, which is a student, out to the marketplace. Our customer then becomes the shop owner. The shop owner is the one who says, I want to hire this person. And if it's good product, they usually come back and then they want to hire more. And so it's important to understand that what we're putting out becomes the type of product that shop owners would like to hire.
That's brilliant. That's brilliant. So obviously, like, you know, you were talking about if they haven't got the money, obviously you get the funding to do that. Is that something which is just applied to your business, or can any sort of institute do that, Barbering Institute? Is that the funding available?
So not all schools have funding available. You know, a lot of them are self-pay. A lot of them haven't met the certain criteria needed in order to obtain federal aid to help students get through the program. And so with that being said, some students that don't have an opportunity at Premier, maybe they're in a different state or they're too far away, they would have to find a school that would fit them. And a lot of times it's self-pay. But when you have a program like ours where the financial aid is available, then students can sign up, they can apply. If they get approved for federal aid, then what happens is they go and apply to the school, and then we bring them through the financial aid process.
Brilliant, brilliant. And I imagine that's great support for people in the local communities who want to take barbering on as a skill. You know, it's a lifestyle as well. Obviously, you know, you're like me, we've been in a very, very long time. Sort of going through where you've worked, I know you're an international educator. I know you travel about quite a bit. Do you want to just have a little chat about that?
Sure, absolutely.
Okay, so like what sort of countries have you been to? What sort of things have you seen over the years? Anywhere interesting you've been?
Yes, I've been all over the United States, right? Almost 50 states, not all. I've traveled to the Caribbean islands. I remember visiting shops in St. Lucia when I was there. I actually really enjoyed that. The culture there, the dynamic there. I loved Russia. Russia was awesome. I remember going to the Barber UK in Telford. That was awesome as well. I've been in Birmingham.
I was there with you then, brother. I was there as well.
It was a great show.
Mm. Brilliant.
And so the differences that you see from different places, you know, like Russia didn't have regulations for or requirements for barbering. UK didn't have regulations or requirements for barbering. And St. Lucia didn't have regulations for requirements for barbering. So I think the desire and the hunger for education is even higher because it's like, I can already cut hair, but I want to learn more, versus where in the United States, where there is education and people are getting a foundation, some fundamentals to kind of help them along the way so they can get licensed. Sometimes they're searching for you. A lot of times they're searching for YouTube to get additional information. But I think the desire to go to classes to get the right type of information isn't as strong as it is in some of the countries that I mentioned earlier, because there aren't no regulations on education. And so whenever there's some form of education, it sells out. People go to it because they want more of the information to help them to excel as a practitioner.
Yeah. So again, you know, like regulation in the UK is coming with us. We are sort of, you know, we have really been fighting for some of the top barbers.
So did the regulation come because of COVID and now they're starting to ramp up and create regulations, or was it coming prior to?
No, me and a few other peers in the industry were putting stuff together. We're all state registered, which is a form of sort of regulation, but it's not totally official. It is done by the Hair and Barber Council, which is a branch of the government, but it's not. But we're taking it to the next level now. It is going to be registered. It has to be, because it has to be safe because of COVID. And again, we're close contact. It's you know, it's one of these things which a lot of people are risking people's lives by, you know, doing illegal haircuts and going to people's houses and so on, without the right regulations in. But at the end of the day, it's like it should have been in before anyway in the UK. It should have been in about at least 10 years ago. So we have been fine. It is coming in, definitely. And like, you know, again, that's another thing I want to just talk about with clients. And I've noticed you were in one of the Barber Evo magazines here.
Well, I actually write a column in their magazine every edition.
In the US edition.
Correct.
Right, okay. I'm not actually subscribed to that. I do get the UK one. But yeah, I have seen you in here. Where are you now? Just trying to find you. There you are. So I don't know if you remember that article, Tyrik.
Yes, I do. That was talking about technology. That article.
Yeah, and that's what I want to go into next. The importance of technology and booking. The Sharper Image Barbershop app. Is that your application, or is that just you're an ambassador for them?
So no, it's my application for my barbershop. So I have a friend, Effects Apps. It's EFEXX APPS. Effects Apps on Instagram. And what he does is he creates proprietary apps for your business. So it's your brand, aesthetic, your color scheme, your font, things like that you want for your business. It's not like the other types of basically apps that have more of a community base, where it's all the barbers are in one, in every place, in every city, in every county, in every state, every borough.
This one is just application for your
correct.
Shop.
Correct. And I'm not a fan of the community-based apps. I think that they have, you know, they have some value there. But to give you an example, if me and you are in the same area, we're, you know, 10 minutes apart from one another, 15 minutes apart, you know, a couple miles away, if you will, kilometers. Let's say a client is looking for you, but they don't find you. But then they find me, and I might be slightly better, might be slightly cheaper. I might be even slightly closer to where they are. you may lose a client because that person is looking for someone to service them, and it's in a community-based platform. So I'm not a huge fan of that. I want to make sure that I'm gearing all the traffic to our business, not so much everybody else's business. And by bringing everybody to our business, I'm able to then manage. And what the great part about that is if they can't get a service by me, they see one of the other practitioners in our business and will get service by them, rather than looking at another location somewhere else with a different barber at a different barbershop in a different town or minutes away.
Yeah, I totally agree with you, brother. Being an application with other barbers on there, again, you can have your customers ending up, going to other places, so on, trying other people out.
I've even seen some of them where what they do is they, let's say I went to your location, but maybe I didn't leave a review. Because I didn't leave a review for you, a lot of those community-based applications may then send me a suggestion based on, hey, we saw you scheduled an appointment with Sweeney, you didn't leave a review, can I recommend maybe 2 of these other shops? And it's like, why would you recommend someone to me and I've already went there? Because I didn't leave a review. And that's really like poaching clients and then moving them to someone else. So I'm not a fan of the community-based apps.
Online poaching, yeah, that's what it boils down to sometimes. I was reading your article though, and what I liked about it was the fact that you mentioned that the people come in, you get to know their names, they sign straight in. They're not just sat next to somebody, they don't know where they are. And like you said, appointments override walk-ins. So if you're an appointment-based barber, but you're not fully booked, and you're trying to do walk-ins and you've got appointments, you're gonna upset some people, aren't you? Let's have a little chat about that.
So the main reason that I wanted to create an application for our business was the one main reason is at one point we did have over 300 something walk-ins, about 320 walk-ins on an average per month outside of appointments. So your appointments by name because they've been coming to you and they've scheduled, you have a rapport, you've established a relationship, they're probably ongoing or recurring, scheduled into your lineup. And it's the people who come in that actually built the business from the beginning is the walk-in. And what I didn't like is that when a client would come in, they would say, is there anyone available? Right. And then you were like, all the appointment barbers, they kind of just ignore that person, don't say anything. And then you have the barber who may service the walk-ins be like, yeah, I can get you, come on, have a seat. And then as a business, we don't know the person's name. We don't know anything about them. We haven't captured any of their data. And it doesn't become a personable experience. So the main purpose was to create a kiosk that you would go in, a client would sign in and put his name on the ongoing list. And then the clients, the barbers would be able to go into their phones, look at that person's name and say, Thomas, I'm ready for you. It becomes more of a personal experience. And then when the barber is saying Thomas out loud, right, then the other 6, 8, 10, 16 barbers that may be in the area, what happens with them is they begin to, those barbers then begin to hear the person's name. And so before Thomas leaves, maybe they're having an open conversation. Everyone's having dialogue with Thomas. And before he leaves, they can say, hey, Thomas, thank you for coming in today. And now Thomas feels so much better about coming to a place where, one, they recognize him, they know his name, they had great dialogue with him, and it helps to create a much better experience for that consumer coming into your business.
Yeah, and obviously it's better for the barbers as well, like you said. It's more of a personal thing. They can see on their phones. They don't have to be going over to a reception area, speaking to a receptionist, finding out, what's going on this, that, and the other.
Well, it actually kind of eliminates the receptionist.
Yeah.
When you have your own personalized app and kiosk, once the client knows how your system works, then they'll come in, they'll either download it on their phone, schedule with you, or they'll go in and sign in on a kiosk, because you have to teach people how you do business, right? It's important, around here we have the fast food places. And before you drive up or you walk in, right now there's drive up. So there's been a shift because of COVID, and then most of it is online. So sometimes you're downloading an app, you're placing your order, you're getting in line, then you're picking up your food. That's a new process that the restaurants are using in order to accommodate people that are hungry, right? Before you go in, let me get one of these and one of them. And a lot of that's not happening like it used to. So there's different processes. And once your guests or your customers become accustomed because you're teaching them your processes, what happens is you're creating a much better experience. That experience is now helping the students, helping the customers. And so that way you can continue to accommodate them in a much better way. But utilizing those systems help to, see, people run systems run your business. You have people trying to run their business and trying to implement systems. No, if you have systems in place, allow the systems to run your business, and then you can go ahead and manage the systems. Does that make sense?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I like it. So your app, will it work in the UK?
So yeah, if you wanted to create your own app in the UK, you absolutely can. You can build your own application. You can go to Effects Apps on Instagram, hit the link in his bio, and then you can build one. He actually allows you to build your application for free. I think he'd be a great interviewer for you on your page as well.
What's his name, sorry?
His name is Eric of Effects Apps. EFEXXAPPS.
EFFXEPF. Is it?
E as in Edward, F as in Frank.
Yeah.
E is in Edward.
Yeah.
And then XX, like XX. An X. Yeah. And then A is in Apple, P is in Paul, P is in Paul, S is in Sam. Effects Apps.
Got it. I'll give him a message, definitely.
Al Henny's just put it on Instagram, so right there you can pin that comment if you wanted to, and that way you can save it.
I got it. Cheers. Thank you, brother. Nice one. Thank you. So obviously BarberCon 2018, Europe BarberCon 2018. Let's have a little chat about that, brother. How was it? I know you got to meet a few of my barber mates over there as well.
It was awesome. I actually got to meet a guy that I've been communicating with. For several years. He's been watching my Tyrik Talk Tuesdays every Tuesday, 9:30 a.m. Eastern time, which is 2:30 p.m. your time. And his name was the Smoking Barber. He came to that event. We got to chat. He was awesome to just really connect and meet in a real way rather than just through digital media. But it was great meeting him there. I love the energy over there. I love the fact that the event was free, that the parking was free. They gave away gifts and prizes to people. And in order to have an event like that, it was important because they are the distributor of all the products in the UK. So it made it simple. We're going to offer this free to our consumers and barbers because we're going to put your products out there in our stores anyway. And so it made a lot of sense. There was the international stage and there was the local stage. I spent time on the local side. I did a few demonstrations. One was at the Barber Evo booth. I did a demonstration. And then I also did one at the Russia Moscow booth, the Moscow Barber Connect event. So I did one at their booth where I did a flat top on the Smoking Barber, which was a lot of fun.
Bro, sounds really good. So again, information coming through the UK, a lot of the shows which have been booked for this year now being cancelled. I can't elaborate too much on it because I've been sworn to secrecy, but I can't see anything happening until 2022 now. Again, what is there anything going to be going on over there? Have you got shows coming up this year?
So there are some shows that are coming up. Florida's open in the United States, and so they're having events in Florida. Texas is now open, so they're actually opening events in Texas. I'm probably going to delay a lot of events. I'm not going to be attending a lot of events. I've been doing education here at Premier Barber Institute, where we've been streaming educators. They're coming into the school to talk to our students, but we're also streaming it to YouTube and Instagram and Facebook simultaneously, which is really helping not just our students, but also giving people a digital presence of a convention, basically. And so we did a financial class last week where we covered budgeting our finances for about an hour. Then we spent another hour on how to take that money, build some credit, invest properly, or understanding how to establish credit properly. We took a small little break and then we came back and then we spent 2 hours with business structure, how your business should be structured. here in the United States, the way people are structuring their business. As far as a tax perspective, how is the government seeing you as an entity when it comes to your finances? And so that was about business structure and maximizing the most, so that way, one, you can understand what your tax liability is going to be, and then the other one is your responsibility. So what are you going to be paying in taxes, and at the same time managing the amount of income that you receive as the CEO or owner or company owner.
So just a quick question for some of the viewers are probably thinking there. What sort of percentage on the tax do you pay yearly as a barber? Is there a set figure, or do you just pay on your income of what's coming in?
No, so there's not a set figure on what you would pay. Now on a state level, so you have local, right? You have your city or your borough, you have state, and then you have federal. So locally, a lot of times the local organizations do have a set figure on depending on your licenses. So if you're a barber, it may be slightly cheaper than if you are a manager or a teacher, right? So those would be set at the local level. Now, everybody's local is a little bit different. I know where I live, there is a local tax that is required, and it is a set cap. State and federal is based on your income. What are you paying into state taxes, and what are you paying into federal taxes? Now, when you are a CEO of your company, depending on your business structure, you can maximize the amount of money that you have coming in, and you can allocate what's going out based on what you made as an employee of your business versus you just calculating all of your income. And so there's some strategies on how that is done and how your business structure is. And it was a phenomenal class. You have a couple people that were on here that were really talking about what it was like and what that experience was like when they took the class.
Bro, I'd be really interested in watching that class if you could hook me up with that, because I'd be really interested to see that, because even though we're in the UK over here, I think the fundamentals of being financially, like, you know, alert to what's going on, and you know where you are,
right?
Especially in our business, because you know, with this COVID, a lot of people couldn't get the grants,
right,
because they weren't actually classed as self-employed.
Well, that's a lot of the problem that was happening with professionals, is that they were putting all their money in sneaker boxes or running their business out of their front pockets rather than from their business, you know, from their banks. And so a lot of the training that I've been giving over the years, I've probably licensed hundreds, if not thousands, of students, licensed them, you know. So
hats off to you for that, brother. Definitely.
Yeah, thank you.
Amazing.
Thank you. I know here at Premier Barber Institute, we've easily done thousands of students. I've been working in education since 2011, but I've been a licensed instructor since 2005. And I've had apprenticeship programs since 2005. But I was also a managing barber at a barbershop since 1999. Where I was also doing apprenticeship at a local barbershop. And so I've been licensing people since 1999. So I've licensed thousands and thousands of barbers to help them. And one of the things that I've been teaching, especially in my school since 2014, but even when I was working at other schools since 2011, and you know, a lot of the apprentices before that, was financing, establishing relationship with banks and financial institutions, how to structure your business properly so that you can maximize your income, stop spending money out of your sneaker box and your front pocket, utilizing your credit, utilizing your business to get the things that you need so that way you can be structured properly.
Yeah, that's good. And again, that brings me on to my next question, branding. So obviously I've got my own brand, you've got your own brand. Just explain to young people in the barber game that how important branding is in our industry now, where 20 years ago branding wasn't as important as it is now. So you understand branding, so do I. You know, let's have a little chat about branding.
Yeah, so branding is really the visual aesthetic, right? It's really what people see and what they take away from it, right? What is the conversation they're having about you and your business? So there's a bunch of different things. Like, I think sometimes people get confused that I think a lot of times their color scheme is their brand. They think that's the brand or the title or the name. And that is a part of it, but there's different types of branding. So you have iconic brands. So that's like your McDonald's, your Nike, that have these iconic emblems and symbols that you recognize, what they are without reading a name. And then you have name brands. So you have like the brand that has like Home Depot or FedEx. Those are different types of names that are brand. And a lot of them, they all have their color scheme. You look at all the cellular phone companies, they have specific colors that is proprietary to their business. All of that has become part of their brand and how they put that out there. So when you see their icons or you see their names and you see the different things, that is the brand. That is visually what people see, which helps to create what I call TOM. TOM is top of the mind. And so when you're talking to someone, you want to be at the top of their mind. When they think of barber school, I want Premier Barber Institute to be on the top of their mind. When they think of a barber shop in their local area, you should want them to think about your business and put your business at the top of their mind. Those are the things that I think are important when it comes to brands. So if you have a good brand that means something, that stands by something, and people can recognize it, understand it, they know what it means, they know what it represents, they will also help to market that for you. Social media is marketing. Social media is a place where you can get free marketing. And a lot of people spend time looking at other people's content, consuming other people's content, and then spending a lot of time bickering back and forth on social media rather than building this free platform to push your content out there from a marketing aspect. But you want to push your content with your brand aesthetic. We're having a conversation now, and I have my logo and the brand aesthetic behind me. It was important that when I went on this, that you would see who this is, so that way I have several businesses, but you wanted to talk to Tyrik, the owner of Premier Barber Institute, so it made sense to have the brand aesthetic for the school behind me, so that anyone seeing, you got the barber chair, which also kind of helps. Oh, it's in the barber world. So anybody looking at this from a visual perspective will say, we got a guy with a beard, there's a barber chair, and it says Barber Institute behind him, obviously having a conversation about barbering. So we're taking the brand aesthetic, we're giving you some visual representation of what that brand aesthetic is by having a chair here. And then anyone who can't hear us but can see the visual of it can say, oh, they must be talking about barbering.
Definitely. That's some great advice for everybody out there on branding. It is really important. But as you were just talking about then, a lot of people are getting into it on Facebook, arguing online lately. Do you think it's the stress of COVID and everyone being closed?
I think that it's a variety of things. I don't think it's just one specific thing. I will say that some of that may have helped to escalate. Some of that may have helped to kind of encourage a lot of that as well. But I'm not going to say that that's all of it. People are dealing with all kinds of stuff. You have financial issues, you have family issues, you have business issues, and there's all these other things. So I did a live a few months back, and it was really talking about the sensitivity of people right now. So you have people that are very, very high sensitive. You have people that have low sensitivity, and then you have just a general sensitivity, right? So you got to be careful because you might be pushing people's buttons and then their sensitivity triggers go all the way up. And it happens, right? So I think there's a lot of different things that are taking place. Yes, it's been a stressful year for a lot of people, and how people are managing that stress can be very challenging. And if you don't know that, you can do some things that may cause some offense to some people. And if there was all kind of other stuff going on, they probably wouldn't get as offended as they do now, right? So there's a lot of different things that are taking place, but I wouldn't narrow it down to just COVID. Life is happening for everyone at different paces, and we're all dealing with things in a different way. You had political unrest, you had social unrest, you had financial distress, you had business distress, you had no funding coming from the government, your finances were depleting, your family life has been in shambles for a lot of people. There's been so many different things happening that you can't just put a pin on one specific thing. But I think what did happen in this year is it allowed you to see who is really for you, who's not for you, who's down for what's important, who's not down for what's important. And it's made it very, very clear in a lot of places, even in your personal life, your business life, and even on a social media life.
Yeah, man. you know, I just want everybody to get on. You know, we're a small community worldwide. There's no need for some of it. I think it's very pathetic and childish, and I think there's a lot of jealousy involved. But moving on, bro. Obviously, ambassador roles. Are you just an ambassador for yourself? Because I've given up all my roles. I work with a handful of companies now, but I feel that I'm an ambassador for Sweeney's Barbershop, Sweeney's Barbershop Academy, and SweeneyTV, and that's the only ambassador I need to be for.
Right. So I've never really was an ambassador for companies. I worked with companies. I didn't work for companies. So there's a difference. A lot of times, everything that I've done from the time I got turned down by Andis, probably it was like 2003, 2004. And ever since then, I said, well, I don't need to work for a clipper company. I'm just going to go ahead and build my own thing. So back in 2004, 5, I was selling my own educational DVDs, right? When we were printing DVDs back then. I was also doing platform artistry and education. I was doing private classes and visiting schools and doing education. I was competing worldwide. I competed in the largest hair battle competition in the world at a multicultural show that was $25,000 for 15 minutes show production. And so those were the things I was doing. When YouTube started, I ended up creating a YouTube page. I didn't prioritize YouTube, kind of kicking myself in the foot now, right? Looking back, because hindsight is 2020. But I didn't prioritize YouTube. My biggest focus was the barber school. Barber school was the mission. So I gave up platform work. I would still help with certain companies, but I've always endorsed or was the ambassador for Tyrik Jackson. Currently, I do endorse and do some ambassador as far as R&D also for Dash for Him. Dash for Him is a brand that we use. I did a lot of the R&D for that product, as well as some of the marketing campaign, and became sort of a face for that product. We were in Blades and what's the distributor in the UK? Is it Blades and
Barber Blades?
Barber Blades. We were in Barber Blades, and we were in another.
You were at I'm good friends with the two owners. So
yeah. So we were there in the UK. We were also in the other distributor there in the UK. I can't think of it off the top of my head.
What would that be? Salon Services?
Nope, not that one. There was another one. Who?
Sally's?
No, it was another privately owned distributor out there. That it wasn't Barber Blades.
It might have been Chris and Sons, maybe.
Chris and Sons, yes, it was Chris and Sons. Yep. So we were in them as well. So we've been working with them for the last several years, since its inception, and they've been very, very good with us. Which is how I got to do BarberCon UK in 2018 because of the relationships.
Brilliant. Well, that's it. It's all about, sort of reaching out to people in different countries, getting your brand out there, especially like if you're a distributor and you've got a product which you want to sell, or you just get out there, whether you're selling gowns or, you're selling waxes or, beard brushes. There's a multiple range of things people can do now. A lot of people I've noticed are making their own products at home. It's something which I might start looking into. Do you actually make your own products, or do you sell your own products, as in hair wax?
No, so the only thing I sell is Dash for Him. Like I mentioned, I was R&D for that company, and then what we did is we began to develop the product, create the labeling and the brand aesthetic to it. There's a message and a story behind it. It's about creating impact, and so I committed to working with them exclusively. I don't get paid through them. It's something that I actually believe in and I stand by. So I'm not concerned with getting an ambassador check or getting an endorsement or even ownership rights at this point. So there wasn't, in the beginning, there was some conversation of ownership, but I wanted to really support my friend who decided to create a product, and I did a lot of the R&D. So I don't endorse products other than that one. I just kind of endorse Premier Barber Institute, Tyrik Jackson Education, which I've been doing for a very long time.
Yeah, man. Yeah, well, like I said, when I did my background check on you, brother, all it was good. Seems like you've done amazing, like you said, and helping support young barbers, sort of, financially to come into the game, but also giving them a career when they come out is great to hear. But obviously, it's a barber show. Let's have a talk about tools. So, scissors. what scissors do you use? Are you do you use a lot of scissors, or are you?
I actually have more shears than I do clippers.
Brilliant.
So I only have 3 clippers. I have one adjustable clipper, I have one outliner, and then I have one detachable clipper. That's the only thing I use. So I use my detachable clippers for the heavy duty work. I use the fading clipper or the adjustable clipper for the detailing of the work. And then the finishing tool, which was the outliner and the shaver for outlining when it comes to tools. Now, when it comes to, that's for mechanical tools. When it comes to shears, I have Casio shears. I have several sets of them. I have a ceramic shear that they don't even make anymore or manufacture. It's probably one of my favorite shears to work with. I have some Bonica shears, one which is a razor and shear combined, so you can cut it. You can use it cutting as a shear, but if you keep it closed, you can also use it as a razor. It has different sides to it. One side's a little bit thicker for more texturizing, another one that's thinner for less texturizing. I use several different Bonica shears, and I also have some Kamasori shears.
Nice.
But I have more shears than I do clippers. So
cool. Is there any particular brand you go to with clippers, or do you mix it up? Do you just
whatever they send me, whatever they send me that's free, I can, because I don't believe that it's the tool. I think it's the technique.
Yes.
You know, it's how you're utilizing the tool. It's not so much the actual tool. I will tell you that the cordless clippers have made some amazing advancements in the last several years compared to when I started cutting with in 1998. Cordless clippers were trash. So the products have stepped up. They created new branding for them, created great marketing schemes around how they're pushing their products. But the technology is better. The technology is a lot better than what it was many years ago. And if you are a barber that has been cutting for a long time, then and you have decent speed, then cordless clippers may work for you. But if you're a new barber and you take a long time servicing someone, I do not necessarily recommend using cordless clippers, even if they're very popular, because it may slow you down. It may slow your process down. They'll die out much quicker, and you won't be able to get through haircuts as efficient. So, you know, something that's plugged into wall is going to be a lot more stable. It's going to last a lot longer. But if you're already a barber that's very proficient in your skill set, then the cordless clipper can be very appealing to a barber because you don't have the wires hanging, and it helps with a lot of time and efficiency.
Yeah, definitely. Brilliant. Well, my advice is to the students and people who watch this back later on or are watching this live now, if you do have cordless clippers, make sure you've got a backup for it, and then you've got another backup for that, because most of the clippers don't tell you how long you've got left on the battery like your phone would, which clipper companies, you need to start telling us how much battery we got left on our clippers.
Well, the interesting thing is, I was trying to start a campaign with a company where you had one on deck, right? But I don't even keep one on deck. I have one set of clippers because some of them also are cord and cordless. If you ever come into an opportunity where the power is not because they died out, you can plug them right in and they start right back up. But I can probably service people from 7:30 in the morning to about 5:30 p.m. back to back every half hour, and not have to worry about a charge or the clipper dying out. I can cut straight throughout the day without having to recharge my clippers from 7:30 in the morning to about 5:30 p.m. And that's every half hour, you know, one client. And depending on the service, I may be able to do another additional one, maybe even 2 within that hour. I don't normally push that though as much unless something's coming up, but usually I do every half hour.
Do you find now that a lot of people are using enhancements with their work now as well? And
oh yeah,
what's your opinion on enhancements? Because it's massive in America, and it didn't really.
Well, if you have dry skin, you put lotion on it. Lotion is an enhancement for your skin, right? Your skin should produce enough moisture and elasticity to keep your skin healthy looking, right? But it doesn't. The foods that we eat and things that we do don't really help to make our skin as moist and pliable as it should be, right? So we put lotion on our skin to help add moisture to the skin. That is an enhancement. If your hair doesn't stand up and you want it to stand up, you put hairspray on. That's an enhancement. each client or guest has their own preference on what they want to look like and how they want to look. Enhancements offer an opportunity to create new revenue streams. So you have the haircut that's a service. The enhancement is a new additional service in which you can actually capitalize and make more money. I've been using enhancements since 1998. So it's been kind of the status quo where we live. And it started with temporary products to help enhance the beard and fill in some light spots. And then it became a color that we would use to fill in light spots and to help stain the skin to make it look a little bit more fuller. And then it went to a semi-permanent, which was a little bit easier to manage and easier to get clients in and out. So it's also had its transitions and adjustments throughout the last 20 something years. You know, like I said, I've been using enhancements since 1998. Now, not everyone gets an enhancement. It depends on who they are and what their preference is, but yeah, not everyone gets an enhancement.
Cool. And another thing I was going to ask you over there, hair pigmentation is getting quite big in the UK. Is that something which you guys do over there? Is the
absolutely? So I actually have scalp micropigmentation. So
okay.
you can see the line on there. I have scalp micropigmentation. If I get a little closer into the camera, you probably can see it a lot better.
Yeah.
For those of you on Instagram, we're also on a Zoom chat for his YouTube channel. So yeah, we just had a 3-day SMP, so scalp micropigmentation class here at the school on the main stage, not just for our students, but also paid guests who wanted to come in and learn how to perform that service.
Yeah, I find that it's not cheap in the UK. It's about between £2,000 and £3,000, but you do get a kit with it. But again, it's one of these things which practice makes perfect. You've got to keep practicing. There's no point in going and pay £3,000 to do a course, doing it once, and then not doing it again.
Well, there's no point in spending $150 going to a class and not implementing the things that you learned in the class. And a lot of barbers, they do that. They'll go to a class and they'll spend $200, right, or 150 pounds, whatever the case may be, and they'll go home and they'll say they want to do the thing, but then they don't do it. I've seen barbers take the men's hair unit classes where they're putting the toupees and the hair replacement systems, and they'll go and take those classes, but then never perform the service, right? So it's important that if you are going to invest in a class, especially one that costs 2,000 pounds, right? You definitely want to make sure that you're practicing the services that come with that particular class. It's extremely important so that way you can get your return on the investment. There's a return on the investment, then there's a return of the investment. The return on the investment is to get your money back from what you put out for the classes. The return of the investment is the ongoing money that's coming in and the experience that you're gaining through that process.
Cool, man. Really good information, brother. And, again, just helping everybody know exactly is where they are as a barber, where they are in their community, where they are on their level. I always say we got A, B, C, D, and E, which is A is apprentice, B barber, C competent barber, D demonstrator, and then E educator. And if young people sort of follow that sort of narrative, I think
repeat that again. I like that. Say that again.
So you got A, B, C, and D. So you got A, apprentice, B, barber, C, competent barber, D, demonstrator, E, educator.
I love that. Do you mind if I borrow that?
Listen, I took that off Kevin Vorley. He still works for Andy's. And I think Kevin was told it by somebody else. So it's come down the barber grapevine. And yeah, of course, brother, I stole it as well. So it's great for the students because that gives them a little imprint in their heads of where you are and what the journey, you've got to earn your stripes in this game. You can't just turn up and roll up and say, right, I've done a hair pigmentation course. I've paid $3,000 for it. I haven't done it before, but I want to work in your shop and I want to be this international educator. It's not going to
just prove the big one, please. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Make mine a triple double, bro. Yeah. No, but what I'm saying is that a lot of people do these courses, they pay to do these courses, and then they're not at the level where they put the experience, the time, and the years in, and they've been to the stages, they've been on stage, they've messed up. You know, we all make mistakes in this game.
Absolutely.
And like, you know, nobody's perfect, but it's about keeping the standards high. And that's one thing which the UK do. And I've noticed America do that outstandingly. I just want to make it a little bit fun now, really. Just ask you a question. Any fun stories from your clients over the years, or any fun stories from the shop, which you always tell people, you know?
Oh my God. Fun stories. Man, I got plenty of fun stories. Where do I begin? I mean, there's so many different fun stories. So
what's your favorite one? Or one which just pops into your head now, which you'll
so I always have this one barber that always comes to mind, and his name was Doug. Doug was an amazing barber. He came from the Philadelphia area, which is about an hour and a half away from where I live and where my shops are located. And not the school's somewhere in between, but from where our shops are located. And he came in as a barber who wanted to cut hair. But the haircuts that he was performing in Philadelphia at the time, we're talking early in the 90s, you know, wasn't the type of haircuts that we were providing in Lancaster. So we were getting a lot of fades, a lot of tapers, a lot of styled haircuts in the 90s. And he came in doing textured or Afro style hair. And it was an Afro barbershop. So it wasn't that we weren't performing them, but that's all he was doing. And part of the job requirement was you have to be able to do a skin fade, right? Because the majority of our clients are skin fade. So if you could do a skin fade, you probably could do just about every other cut, depending on how you see it, right? And visualize the cut. So I remember for his job interview when he first came in, you know, he was very quick with what he could do, but we gave him a haircut where it was a skin fade. And I remember him telling that he was sweating like a racehorse. And I never knew that racehorses sweat, you know, this was just his terminology. And he was saying that because he never performed the fade before, other than a small taper in the nape or in the temporal area, but never across the entire head, like around the parietal ridge or the horseshoe or the hat band. He never did that. And so he had to be able to create that gradient transition. And he was, I mean, this man was sweating profusely when he got the job. But after he got the job, he was saying that he never had to do that type of haircut. He was never called on. And just for the first time being able to perform it was very, very challenging for him. But he did an amazing job. He ended up getting a job. He worked at that location, I would say, for about 6 years. When I had opened my location, he was no longer working at the shop. When I opened my first location in 2003, he was the first barber that I had hired. One, because of his work ethic. Two, because of he was a character. He had some of the funniest stories. He had great experience, just life experiences that he was sharing with everyone. What I liked about he was an Afro barber. However, he was able to adapt to anybody that came into the business, whether your social background, ethnic background, a single mom with kids, a dad with kids. It didn't matter. He was able to adjust the conversation accordingly, depending on who was in the room. And he was able to accommodate anyone and made everyone feel comfortable. You know, so older European gentlemen or white gentlemen were comfortable sitting in his chair because he can accommodate them and provide them with the service that they needed. And if it was some young kid who wanted a design in his head or something cool and creative, he was able to adapt and do that. So that was one of the things that really, really helped me with him. And it also helped me in the hiring process moving forward, because I wanted diversity in my business. I wanted to have a diverse group of professionals that worked at my shops.
Sounds good. So that shop, obviously, like with it being diverse, how many barbers would you have working in that shop with yourself?
So that shop, I would say it was just Doug and myself for the first maybe 3 months. And then after 3 months, we went to a 6-chair shop immediately. I already had it set up for 6 chairs, but I wasn't hiring because I wanted to make sure that we built a good reputation a good rapport with the community, and was able to grow a walk-in clientele. It would suck to have 6 barbers and no walk-ins, right? So we wanted to make sure that we can build that up, and then we went to 6 barbers in 3 months. After being there for about a year, we opened the second location. That took us about a year and a half, and then we opened that second location, and then we had 16 barbers total between the 2 locations.
Wow, wow. And how obviously running a barbershop, I do myself. I've got my staff. I run it like a family business in a way. Sometimes it can work out good for me. Sometimes it can work out bad for me. How do you run your business? Is it a family orientated business, or are you very business?
Yeah, everyone in the shop, we are family. During shutdown, we were communicating with one another on a regular basis via Zoom, or Join.me, and different platforms that would allow us to do some face chatting together. When there was a government assistant available, I would make sure that I was getting it to the barbers as fast as possible so that they can apply for those things. One of our other barbers, who's been with me 17 years at that location, she has also been instrumental in keeping the rapport and the environment with all the barbers collectively together. But it is definitely a team effort. It is a family-oriented business. When we first opened in 2003 at that location, we had no TV and no radio. So all it was conversation. We did that for probably about 3 years before we added a TV into the shop. And that was important so that way we can create the type of rapport with the community and establish the type of conversations that are timeless that happen in a barbershop. Usually when you have a TV and the TV's loud, it's overbearing. It takes away from the intimate conversations that you may have. It takes away from, it can also add conversation because there might be something on TV that would help to add to the conversation. But a lot of times I felt that the TV sometimes can be a distraction. Even the music that you're playing in the barbershop could be a little bit distracting.
Yeah, it's got to be the right music. You can't have low vibrational swearing and stuff. It's not good.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Sort of talking about, like, one problem we had a couple of years back, when the barber sort of boom happened and barber became really popular and everyone started going for it, hairdressers leaving, in the UK anyway, but hairdressers were leaving hairdressing going to barbering. We had a lot of people who weren't barbers opening up barbershop businesses and not running them properly. And what I tend to find is, I don't know if you have the same problem over in America, I don't know if it happens now still, but I tend to find that people who open barbershops who aren't barbers are never successful with it.
Yeah. So a lot of times, what we call those is culture vultures, right?
Culture vultures. That's a good one.
Culture vulture. Yeah. So yeah. So they're basically those types of people. They're investors. You know, they're looking at a way to make money, right? Use other people's money. Use other people's time. Use other people's talent, and they're going to use their money to create a business. It's a business model, right? There are some that work or are successful, but there are many of them that are not. You know, a lot of times when you're not in tune, you're not tapped in, you don't have the connection with the barbering community. You don't have a connection with how barber businesses are structured properly. A lot of times you're coming in with a I want money mindset rather than a developing and creating a growth mindset, right? When you have a growth mindset and you're about team and you're about focusing on team, then the money will eventually come. But if your priority is, I want to make money, then you chances are you don't last long. You end up putting a lot of money up. So yeah, there are shops that are like that, but they don't necessarily last long. I've seen shops open and close in the last 26 years, right? In my area, we've been established at my location for 17 years. So I was working at another barbershop for about 8 years prior to opening my shops. But I was a cleanup kid and then became a barber and apprentice. And then I went to school. But within 8 years, I was working at a location before I actually opened up my own space in 2003.
I think it's the love for barbering as well, which creates success, doesn't it? You know, I think there's a lot of barbers who are in the game who are not out there because they haven't really got love for their job sometimes. They just do it because they need to make money.
Well, I think social media sometimes makes it look cool. And so because it makes it look cool, it's almost like the new rock star, right? The new rapper, the new rock star. You got the nice car, you got the nice clothes, you got the nice kicks, you got the nice babe, you know, and it's like, I want to cut hair. You know, I was talking to a guy the other day on Instagram, and one of the questions was, when did you start barbering? It's actually one of my most recent posts. And I talked about what that was like for me. And I wanted to know from other people what it was like for them. He was a DJ at a club. And every time he saw the guys come in with all the girls dressed nice, looking nice, they were all barbers. So he said, oh, I want to be a barber. So he still DJs, but barbering. And that was what introduced him. It was the women, and it was the guys that came in, you know, their haircuts were clean, their outfits was clean, they had the right feet, you know, shoes on their feet. And so it was like, man, and then they had the right arm candy. So he was like, I'm the DJ at the club, and these girls are walking in with these guys. Who are they? I want to know who they are. And, you know, barbering was like the new rock star thing. So.
Yeah, man, it's same sort of over here, but not on the sort of grand epic level like you Americans do over there. But obviously, one of my questions is, what's your opinion on us British barbers? You know, because I've always, you know, some American barbers call us hairdressers, and because we're not regulated, you know.
Well, here's the thing.
Because you've been over here, you've seen us live, you know.
Right. So I think I like barbering all over the globe. Right. You mentioned branding earlier, and the barber pole is the oldest occupational symbol in the world. It is our brand. When you see a barber pole outside of a building, you know that there is a barber that cuts hair inside of that establishment. It is the one thing that sets us apart from everyone else. In the United States, the barber straight razor is what separates us from the cosmetologist. I don't know how that is in the UK, but it doesn't matter. If you cut hair, I love it. If you are a barber, I love it. If you're styling hair, I love it. If you're coloring hair, I love it. If you're using chemical texture services, I love it. I absolutely love the industry and what it brings to people who are interested in cutting hair. So for me, it's fantastic. Now, I'm also a law guy, so I don't care what the law is in your state or where you live, whether you have regulations or you don't. But if you do have regulations and you do have laws, then my hope is that you're abiding by those laws and you're abiding by those regulations, because that's important, right? It doesn't matter that it takes this amount of hours here or that amount of hours there. It doesn't matter to me. It doesn't matter if they lower them. It doesn't matter if they raise them. I don't care, as long as you're following the regulations that are required. So for me, when I look at the British barbers and what they do, they're just like me and a bunch of them. Now, I've been a hybrid barber for a long time because I took cosmetology. I understand structure, head shape, sectioning, chemical services, color services. I understand that at a high level. I also teach it at a high level, right? Because there are different levels in which you learn information. You said the A, B, C, D, E. Let me see if I remember. You have the A, that's the apprenticeship barber. So that's the person who comes into a shop, follows under someone, and they learn how to cut hair from that particular barber in that particular way. That is one way of cutting. You have B, which is a barber, right? And then you have C, a more competent barber. That means not only did I get an apprenticeship and I know how to cut hair, I'm a proficient barber, I'm acting as a barber, but now I'm more competent because I have a higher skill set, right? And then you have the demonstrators. D is the demonstrator. That's the person who can tell you what they're doing or show you their POV or point of view on a haircut. It doesn't necessarily make it right or wrong. It's their POV because they're demonstrators. But an educator is a higher level of information that you're going to be getting from an educator. So they can break down sectioning, head, skin, angles, degrees of level, all different levels, even on color. They can go into the deeper levels of color, not just your basic primary colors or your secondary colors, but they can go into how the color wheel works, how you can offset color and create complementary colors to help pigment that is in the hair already. So contributing pigment, there's different levels of education. So from the A, B, C, D, E, I'm what you call E to the fourth power.
Brother, listen, I've got another one. We're going to add an F to it. Founder. I'll take that one. Founder of the Premier Barber Institute. Come on, bro. We've added another one. We've added another letter to it.
We got an F on there, right? So there are different levels, you know. So even on like different platforms like YouTube, you have people that can do a demonstration of a haircut. You have people that can do demonstration of a haircut and explain it a little bit. Then you have people who could do demonstrate it and explain it at a higher level, right? But there's still another level. So a lot of times what I see myself is, so I'll give you this analogy when it comes to like fishing. We can be on the surface and maybe you're on the land and you're throwing the line in and you're fishing from the surface, right? You got your bobber and you're fishing from the surface. But then there's also snorkeling, and then there's also scuba diving. Then there's like deep sea scuba, right? I'm more of your deep sea scuba. As an educator, you have to be able to talk to the person who is on the surface level, right? And begin to graduate them and build them up and matriculate them into a deeper level. So I've done scuba diving. And when you go into the water snorkeling, your back is exposed, you're there with the snorkel. You can't go as deep. And if you go down, you have to come up for air and you can only go but so far, right? That is one type of educator. Then if you go scuba diving, you can go down to certain levels, but in order to go deeper, it's a deeper level of training that is required in order for you to be a successful scuba diver, right? So going down to a deeper level, when I went scuba diving with my wife, she couldn't go past a certain level because of the pressure, her sinuses, and she wasn't able to scuba dive at the level that I was going down. So even on education, there are different levels on how people are giving the information, what they know, and what they can do with what they know. It's not just how they do it. It's deeper than just how they do it. You know, so I consider myself one of, you know, the more elite, more in-depth practitioners and educators in our business. So, and also a founder of an institution.
Of course, brother. Well, bro, I've been following you for for a while. Like obviously, you know, like I said, I get all the barber magazines. So, you know, look at my name with a name like Sweeney. I'm a double wet shave Welsh champion as well. So the Sweeney Todd name just sticks with me really. And people used to call me Sweeney Todd before I even started barbering when I was a young little boy. But it's been a great interview. Tyrik Jackson's come onto the show. Any final words now, brother? Because we're just coming up to the hour.
Yeah. So the only thing I would say is I go live every Tuesday morning. In your time, it'll be 2:30 p.m., 9:30 a.m. Eastern time over here in the United States, where I do a Tyrik Talk Tuesday. I've been doing that consistently for over 3.5 years since Instagram allowed us to go live. I talk perspective, I talk business, I talk strategy, right? I talk tools and implementation, not tools that you're cutting with, but just business tools, life tools,
mind tools,
mind tools. Absolutely. Those are the things that I focus on, but not just to share, but to be able to implement. And I've been doing it consistently for years. All we do is turn the camera on and now we're going live. So I would encourage you to check out my Tyrik Talk Tuesdays. Give me a share, like, follow.
Yeah,
it is free information.
And that's on YouTube or Instagram?
No, that is on Instagram.
Instagram. Brilliant.
That is on Instagram. Yep. And we're continuing to show more educational content on the Premier Barber Institute page, where we're bringing guests into our facility. They're teaching our students, and we're also streaming it to on Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook simultaneously to help. One of the biggest things that I ask you guys is that it's something that I live by, is serve your needs by serving the needs of others first. My success in this industry has come not because of just my willingness to work hard and my work ethic, but it was the ability to serve other people first. It's giving people what they need, which helps them to progress. And it's created other opportunities and avenues for me to grow because of my willingness to serve people. I'm not a taker. You know, we have takers out here in our industry that take. I'm a giver. And sometimes when you're a giver, it's hard to receive. So I would just encourage you to don't just be influential, be impactful. Influence is very broad, right? But when you're a leader and you're educating, your education is actually very deep and impactful. So be impactful. And you know, it's always important that when I look at my life, I don't want my kids to be embarrassed of me.
Tyrik, that's brilliant advice. And listen, you've got my number now, bro. You can always reach out to me over here. I run something called the Ministry of Barbers, which is a 4-man collective of elite barbers in the UK. And I urge you to check the page out, and obviously people who are watching this on the Instagram and on the YouTube, that would obviously be great as well. You know, just sort of wrapping up now, really, with, you know, sort of COVID and everything going on. Are you actually open over there at the moment?
Yeah, we're open. We're at school. We're open. I'm on the stage by myself. I got my mask, right? I got my mask. We are open. We do have different partitions to separate students. We're doing our best with the social distancing. Obviously, we're servicing guests, so there are COVID protocols. And I will tell you what, we've been open since June 26th, I believe it was. We haven't had any instances where there was outbreak or something. We've had people that were sick, they've gone home, they've done what they had to do, but we haven't had outbreak as a school. And so our protocols that we've been putting in place have been very, very good. I've been healthy. My staff has been healthy, with the exception of a few people here and there, but can't say that they got it from school. A lot of it is probably from their other practices outside of school. So we put some good procedures in place. We're open. We're here, and it's been fantastic. I'm glad that I'm able to do what I love doing and continue to do it at a high level.
Just to let you know, brother, they locked us down the week before Christmas, our busiest week. We're still locked down now. Well, my prayers to you guys. They're meant to be opening this up on this Monday coming up, but they haven't confirmed it.
Well, good luck with that.
The rumor
I will tell you that when we got shut down, a few thought leaders in the Philadelphia area, including myself, along with the state board chairman of the barbering board, we sat down together. We've come up with strategy, and we've implemented it to our government on how we can proceed, because a lot of times no one's speaking for us. Now, the difference with us and you guys is that we do have regulations, right? There are requirements. We do have protocol. And if you would like for me to share with you what some of that protocol is, I'll send it to you. Hopefully I can help. But I think where places that they haven't been open are failing is because they haven't stood up. And when I say stood up, I'm not talking about fighting back, but actually having the right data, the right factual information, and the support systems and community. These guys want your votes. Get them involved in the process, right? Get them involved in the process, because if they want you to continue to vote for them and keep them in their political affiliated offices, your voices are very deep. The amount of clients that you have, the amount of barbers that are in the area, if you can collaborate together, the numbers of people that you have, and they say, hey, listen, we know who you are and we know what you haven't done for our industry. We want to share with you that this is what we're going to stand for. And if you don't help or comply and help to create a strategy moving forward or the pathway to opening up properly, we're going to remember when it's time to vote. And we're going to remember who helped us and who didn't help us. When you start speaking their language, it really, really helped to change some things.
Yeah, that's great advice as well. Tyrik, I was going to ask you as well, would it be good if I do this thing called the Four Nations, where I have young barbers on, or I have a group of collective barbers on? I don't know if you've seen any of them, but I'd love to do it with your staff. That would be great. So if any of the people who work with you, any educators who work with me, get them to contact me. And what I'll do,
absolutely,
I'll get 4 or 5 of them on. We'll book it for a couple of weeks' time. So I'll give a couple of people to prepare, and you know, like you said, talk about, because this is the other thing which we need to do as well as educators. We need to start teaching the youngsters of how they present themselves online, as in exactly like what we've done here. I'm in my barbershop. I've got all my awards and my brand and everything behind me. Same with you. And it's visualization, exactly what you said earlier on. Great information for everybody.
Not just visualization, I think attitude. I think attitude is very, very important. It's in our textbooks. It's what we teach. I think attitude is really, really important. And a lot of people right now, because of social media, they're able to say whatever they want on a public platform. And if you have a fan base, then people believe what you say to be true, even if it's just opinionated, right? Because it sounds very, very good. And it's easy to yell from the mountain what you believe something should be or what it is, rather than what it actually is, right? And so sometimes when you have influence that is, their attitude is different. You have the younger barbers that are looking up to them as influencers, And if they see their attitude is not as professional, or if they're slanderish and disrespectful, they think that that's cool to do, and it's really not. So we have to be mindful, because it's the influence that we're putting on that's going to be the next generation of barbers, right, that are going to continue on with this profession. You know, when you and I are dead and gone, there's going to be a group of people, and who they're looking up to for influence, if their attitude and the respect for our craft and each other is not in the right place, we can lose in the long term. It's important to have respect for one another. It's okay to have a difference of opinion. It's okay to have and speak from your private page or your public page on a public platform, your views and ideas. Just be mindful that the things that you're sharing, it's okay to share information, but it can't be misinformation. And we have to be very, very careful with our influence. I try my best to present things from a factual perspective, using the data that I can capture in order to help influence and create a better impact, rather than just speaking off of opinion, emotion, and feeling.
Great advice, definitely. And Meg, thank you for the interview. Absolute legend in the game. You know, let's work together in the future. Let's, you know, keep connected now. I'll do a show with a few of your guys. We'll do like what can I call it? I suppose a Super Bowl for Nation. Like, it's not for Nation. It's no for Nation. It'd be like a Super Bowl SweeneyTV. You know, that's what I can call it. Unless
whatever you want to name it.
With a name for it, that'd be great.
Whatever you want to name it's fine with me. What I could do is I can either talk to my educators, you could talk to a student, you can even talk to a staff member at the barbershop.
Yeah, we could mix it up. You know, if you've got like a group of them, we're all quite tight, educators and, you know, students, and you know,
sounds good.
They bounce off me. Yeah, definitely get in contact, and you know, you could jump on as well if you want.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me today.
No problem. Thank you for your time. Obviously, our time is very valuable. I appreciate it, brother, definitely. And again, thank you very much. I'll see you soon.
See you. Cheers.
Take care. So, SweeneyTV, Sweeney HQ, Tyrik Jackson from the United States of America. Just going to be closing the Instagram down now as well. Thank you, Tyrik. Take care, brother. So all that's done. Next week, we will have a Welsh wizard coming on. Just going to wait for him to confirm the time. It might not be this Sunday, it could be the Sunday after. I've been speaking to quite a few people at the moment, so we're going to be getting some great barbers coming on the show coming up, guys. So SweeneyTV HQ, Sean Swiss Sweeney, we are out.